All right, you guys, we are back and we're live. Welcome back to our daily live feed. As you are logging on, if you would like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. And if you are logging on Instagram, that's great. But we also are up on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. YouTube tends to be the best experience. I was noticing this earlier. As you guys are logging on, say hi when you get on. But I don't know why my camera is doing this. It was doing it to me earlier. I had a webinar earlier today, which if you guys didn't know, I do webinars on Thursdays. So about suits and all that stuff. But like every 2 seconds, my camera will focus in and focus out. So I go from looking like I have a tan to looking like I don't have one. Like 2 seconds. I don't know what's going on with it. What's never done that before. I don't know if it's maybe it's trying to like focus in on my mic. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I got my mic too low. Let me see. Maybe if I do that. No, that didn't work. What's up, guys? What's up? And I'm like touching buttons and everything. I have a touchscreen camera. So it's like, this is the weirdest thing. I don't know why it's doing this. It's never done this before. All of a sudden today, I don't know if it can't see me or something. I don't really know. What's up, guys? So tonight, as I'm trying to adjust my camera, I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it alone. So I'm gonna make a mess of it. We are going to talk about Program Update Day. This is something that we started doing over the last few weeks, and it's a lot of fun. I want to get your feedback, and I'll give you mine and all of those kinds of things as we go into improvement season and prep and all of the things. We talk about it all. There's nothing off the table here. So if you have questions, if you have comments, if you want to, just ask something random about your prepping program or whatever it might be, this is the time to do it. This is the night to do it. So before we get into all that, if you're here on YouTube or Facebook, then you see the QR code up here at the top. That goes to my website, SeansCoutureCuties.com. Now, I have some exciting news with that right there. We will be launching something new tomorrow. So, be paying attention. As soon as it's launching, I will tell you. I will put it up in Instagram and all that kind of stuff. So be paying attention because it is going up tomorrow. So there's your warning right there. So this weekend is the NPC Warrior Classic. I will be there. For those of you that are competing, that are my cuties, sometime in the afternoon is when we get there, probably 3-4-ish, somewhere around there. I have clients all morning into the afternoon. So as soon as I get done with posing everybody, I'll pack up and head out. It's a relatively local show, so I don't have to travel far. But we will be there all weekend. It will be it's really kind of our first show here in the DMV area of the year, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Not only do I have girls competing in it, but they have a live stream, and I will be doing commentary for the live stream. So if you're not coming in person, get on the live stream. I really recommend you guys do this, and I say this a lot. I recommend that you buy the live streams because you want to be able to study these shows. But the biggest thing with the shows that we do through the DMV area, through Gary Udit, through TSG Productions, is we have commentary, live commentary, not just for pros, but also for the NPC. This is a big deal if you're a competitor, right? Because you get to log on and watch the show along with live commentary. It's a place for you to study your own sport, okay? The people that are on the commentary, that they do the commentary, are people like me. People who know this sport, people who are judges in this sport, people that are coaches in this sport, people that have clients in this sport. We are the ones that know what we're looking at, know what we're talking about. We're the ones on the commentary. Okay. So it's really, really a great learning tool for you if you are a competitor and you want to hear it from people who have the perspective of being a judge and things of that nature. So I really highly recommend you get these live feeds that are in our area. So you guys know, if it's me on there, you're going to hear the truth. I don't sugarcoat things. I tell you how it is, which some people don't like that. That's fine. It is what it is. I can't please everybody, but I'm going to tell you the truth. And the people that do listen to it and that take those things and apply them, I promise you, you'll end up being better as a competitor. So, it's a really good option for you guys, regardless of where you are, because again, it's live stream, so you can get it from anywhere in the world. Okay, so if you go to GaryUdit.com, then you'll be able to get to the site where you can actually purchase the live stream for this weekend. Okay, and you'll hear me. You'll hear me talking all day long. So come join me. Is basically what I'm saying. So with that, we're heading over there tomorrow, and we'll be there. Today, let's talk about off season, in season, whatever we want to talk about right now, right? So the topic that I've put up here is why practice year round. So this is in reference to posing, okay? Now, we've talked about this sometimes. I've talked about it in depth on my own personal Instagram. We talk about it here about posing conditioning and, changing up your sides and things like that. So we're going to go into this a little bit more in depth. And the first thing that I want to say about this is if you are in the NPC and you're looking to go pro, like if that's you, you should be handling yourself like a pro athlete. There is no such thing as an off season. We've talked about this before. There's no such thing as an off season. There's an improvement season. And one of the best things that you can do to improve as an athlete in your improvement season is pose. That's one of the best things that you can do, right? So let's relate it to another sport. Okay. Let's relate it to like football or something like that. So football players, when they're in season, they're training all the time with the team, they're doing drills, they're doing all that kind of stuff. Do you think for 1 second that when the football season ends, they stop being an athlete? Do you think they stop running drills? They stop with their strength conditioning? They stop with all that stuff? You think that they do that? Anybody? I'll answer for you. Of course not. Of course they don't. They're working on their skills in their off season, improvement season. Every sport, they do that. They may not be physically playing on the field, but some of them will go into, recreational leagues, but they're all working on the things that they have to work on in order to become better players for the next season. Right? No way. Absolutely no way. They are working on their skills. They're working on their speed. They're working on their strength. They're working on all of those things in order to become a better football player the following year. As a physique competitor, you should be working on the things that are going to make you a better competitor the following year. If you finish up with your physique season and you stop with your diet, you stop with your training, you stop with your posing, you stop with all of the things that you did the whole time you were in prep, do you really think you're going to be a better competitor the next year? Do you really think you're going to be a better competitor when you come around the next year? No, I will answer it for you. You will not. You may be the same if you're lucky. You may be the same. You will not be better. You will not be better. If you want to improve upon a skill, a talent, whatever it might be, you have to practice all the time. Yeah, amen. Exactly. I went to school for music. Okay. I got my degree in music education with a vocal concentration. When I wasn't in class, I was in the music hall singing or practicing piano. I sucked at piano, you guys. When you're a music major, you just have to take piano, and I absolutely sucked at piano. I have long fingers, so I was always told I have piano fingers, but I absolutely suck at piano. But whatever, I still practiced it all the time because I had to pass and be able to be proficient in playing piano. I didn't have to play concerts and shit like that, but I needed to at least know what I was doing in order to be a music teacher, right? So I had to practice. I had to practice a lot more than some people because I was so bad at it. So if like something that you're bad at during your, in season is your posing, you should be practicing more on it in your off season so that you can get to be at least decent. Right? I will tell you one of the most frustrating things as a posing coach, and Jared, I know you're on here. I know there's probably some other coaches on here right now and things like that too. One of the most frustrating things for me as a posing coach is when I have a client that comes back to me after a season that has not stepped a foot in their posing heels for 6 months or whatever it may be, and they expect to just pick up where they left off. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. We have to start over. And sometimes we have to do even more because you've built in some bad muscle memory in the process. Right? If you want to be better at your sport, you should be doing it all the time. And you shouldn't need somebody like me to tell you this. You should just be doing it. You should just be doing it. Now, I can help you make sure that you're doing it right, but I'm not going to be with you 24/7. I'm not going to be with you 24/7. You have to put the work in. As much as I'm timid and feel like I sucked at posing, it's one of the things I did differently last year when I knew for sure I was getting back on stage, and now I do it more regularly. Yeah, Brandy. I love Brandy as an example here because she always posts up her progress check-ins and things like that. I do the same thing. You know, I do it for a few reasons. A, because we have conversations like this, you know, and it ends up making us better competitors in the end, right? B, it keeps me accountable. It keeps me attached to it. That's a big thing. And C, it shows you that I practice what I preach. It shows you that I do what I'm telling you to do, right? I hate it. I hate it when people tell you to do something, but they don't do it themselves. I'm like, well, screw you. You don't do it. You know what I mean? If I'm going to tell you to do something as a posing coach, I better be doing it. I better be doing it myself, right? So I do it too. And I keep myself accountable by doing that. And it makes me better. It makes me better. It makes me better as a coach, and it makes me better as an athlete. Every time, the goal is always to be better, always to be better. And the only way that's going to happen is if you put the daily work in, right? Yep, we're following no off-season eat regimen, then want me to fix everything in a few weeks. Well, that's the thing too. So Jared, saying that on the diet, you know, the same thing happens with your posing. The same thing happens with everything in this sport. If you gain 20 pounds in your off season, you can't expect to take that off in 6 weeks. It's not going to happen. I mean, it could, but you're going to look like you're melted away and you're freaking a string bean and not going to look better. You're going to look worse. You know, you can't expect your coach to work miracles, right? And the same thing when I go back to posing skills and things like that. I can't just turn you around in a minute. It's not going to happen like that. It takes time. It takes work. And especially if you haven't been checking in with me, I have to undo whatever you did. Right? Confidence is built through practice. That's a perfect thought right there. 100%. I just had this conversation with my posing client that I had right before this live feed. We literally just talked about this. I don't know if she's on here with us tonight, but we literally just talked about this. This is something I'm having a conversation with a lot, right? So in order to be confident in what you do, you have to practice it all the time, right? Just thinking you can get up there and wing it, you are going to be a nervous wreck if you get up there thinking you can just wing it. It's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. The more that you practice, though, the more you're going to see if things go wrong during your practice. So you're going to know how to fix it if something like that happens again. You're going to know how to fix the tweak, and that's this, that, the other thing. I tell people all the time, go have one of your posing sessions during the week. Just go have fun with it. Just see what happens. You'll probably screw up everything, but that's okay. Because you'll see little things. You're like, oh, if I do this, if I turn this way, that happens. If I turn this way, that happens. You know, you'll find little things that are little nuggets that you can use, right? And then you can put that into your routine and cement it in. And the more that you do that, the more confident you become because you know you can't get it wrong at that point. You know that at that point, it's cemented into your body and you can't physically get it wrong anymore. Amateurs pose until they get it right. Pros pose until they can't get it wrong. Bottom line, right? Missing a few comments here. People have to humble themselves and not think they can just arrive or magically turn it on and be better than before. 100%. Like, the unfortunate part about our society today, let's talk about this, is it's a microwave society. It's an Instagram society. It's a I want it now society, right? We all think that things happen like that. They don't. They don't. They never do. People that are really hugely successful at something, it's because they failed a lot. They may not show all of those failures to you, but they failed a lot. They failed a lot to get to where they are. And sometimes we only see the highlights of people, so we think that they have this like meteoric rise and all this kind of stuff, when in reality, they've been grinding for years to get there. They've been grinding every day for years. That is not instant. It's not instant, right? I used to avoid posing. I saw that. Yeah. But you know better, you do better, especially if you want to look and feel better. Good job. Good quote right there. We're getting some quotables from Brandy tonight. Do you generally think once someone qualifies for the Olympia, they plan to just improve until then? They should do one show before the Olympia for feedback to know if they're in a good place. Okay, so this is a little bit of a veer off of the tonight's topic, but that's okay. This is what I want coming in during these sessions, during these particular talk times. So this particular question, guys, if you're wondering about stuff that you can ask during our prep program updates, this right here, this is a great example. Okay. So I think it depends on the person. I don't think there's a blanket answer that fits everybody on this particular question. So the question is, do you generally think that once someone qualifies for the Olympia, that if they plan to just improve until then, they should do one show before the Olympia for feedback to know if they're in a good place? And I really think it highly depends on the individual. If they go in and they win a show and the judges told them they did great and they just need to do the same thing and go into the Olympia like that, don't do a warm-up show, right? Maybe that's not something you need to do. I think you have to be very strategic about your warm-up shows. A great example of somebody who did the warm-up shows correctly this year was Phoebe Hagen, right? Because she qualified for the Olympia, took time off, came back, hit that show right before the Olympia, Battle of Texas, that qualified her for next year. And that put her in a great spot with some good feedback going right into the Olympia, which obviously paid off because she ended up placing, what was it, 7th? I think she placed 7th, right? So that played out really, really well for her. Now, would I have suggested that for everyone? No, because that's a huge risk. That's a huge risk. You can go into a show and lose, and all of a sudden you no longer have that momentum. Right? Good example of somebody who did that this past year was Ashlyn. Ashlyn was coming off of what, 3 wins, I think? I think she had 3 wins last year. And then she went into her last show prior to Olympia and she came in 2nd. Not the best move. She already knew what she had to do. She already had feedback. You know what I mean? Not the best strategic move. Right? Daraja is another one, where that warm-up show that she did going into the Olympia actually helped her, even though she lost, right? She came in 2nd at Battle of Texas, but it was a good thing that she did that because then she got feedback on what she needed to do to improve to go into the Olympia. And guess what she did? She came out and ended up in 4th in the Olympia. So just because you lose a warm-up show too, doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, right? So there's a lot of variables here. And I really think it depends on the person. Depends on their specific situation. Depends on things that we don't know going on behind the scenes. Like maybe their body's tired. Maybe they're better off at, maybe they peak better their first show. Maybe they peak better their second show. It's also knowing yourself and knowing your own body, knowing what the best thing to do is for yourself. So again, I can't give a blanket answer on that. It's different for each person. It's going to be very different for each person. I definitely agree, Brandy. I know better, do better. Yes. So back to the posing topic. One of the other reasons why it's really important to be doing it all the time is if you've been following my own journey and my own updates, my sides are switching. My front post sides are switching, right? So my strong side forever has been my right side pose. It's always been my right side pose. Till now. Till now. So I've always posed on my left side, but my left side has always had a hard time with development. My shoulder's weaker on my left side. My waistline, I have a divot into my rib cage in my waistline. So it's been very hard for me to pose on that side because I tend to look skinny on that side. Okay. But one of the good things about that side is my waistline is smaller and my glutes pop up higher on that side than they do on my right side. So those are two very important things when it comes to bikini. Having a good glute pop and having a small waistline are very important when it comes to bikini, right? It was never an issue for figure because my right shoulder has always been stronger because I'm right side dominant. So my right side shoulder has always been stronger. So when I was figure, that was my strong side for sure. 100% because that was my strong shoulder. And obviously in figure, you got to have bolder shoulders, right? So that said, this year, this off season, I've been putting on a lot of mass on purpose. I need it. I'm a tall, long girl. I need a lot of mass. So in the process of doing that, what has happened is my waistline on my left side has stayed smaller, but everything else has built out around it. My left shoulder, while it's smaller than my right, it's actually more of a bikini shoulder now versus my right. And I still have the small waistline and I still have the glute pop on the left side. My glute's better on my left side than it is on my right. And I've figured out how to fix my rib cage issue too, which if you're one of my posing clients, I teach you how to pull the rib cage in. So I teach you how to do that. So now my left side has become way better balanced for this particular division than it was in the past. And that's because I've built my size around it. But I've also been posing it. You guys know, if you're one of my clients, I tell you all the time, I want you posing on both sides because I know your habits. I know you always think that you have one good side. If you're a bikini competitor, wellness, you do it too. Wellness, you're not out of the woods on this one. You think you have one good side and one bad side, which we do most of the time. Most of the time we have one good side, one bad side. So you go to the gym, you take your selfies, you always take them on the same side. You're always popping the same way. You're always hitting the poses that same way. And what happens is your other side gets worse because you're not developing it at all. You're not developing anything on that side. You're not developing any muscle memory, nothing on that side. And not only that, but you're creating impingements and imbalances in your physique. It's harder for me to activate my right glute than it is for me to activate my left glute because of the way that I pose on my right-hand side. So over the last couple of years, I've really made it a point, mobility and flexibility. That's a big deal. Make sure that you're working on your mobility and your flexibility. If you're not, then you're just going to be screwed anyway. You got to do it. And B, I've been working on it because I want to be able to activate my right glute better. And I can't do that because I've got, my right glute. Because I have so many impingements on that side from posing and crunching this side all the time. Right? So because I've been posing my left side, guess what's happened? Those impingements have gone away. I've lengthened that side out. So now it's easier for me to activate my glutes through my brain. If you're not activating muscle through your brain connections, I don't know what you're doing. You're not actually working. So you have to have that mind-muscle connection. So it's a whole lot easier for me now to activate my right glute. So now my right glute is catching up to my left. And I have a better balance. Posing on both sides is incredibly important. And I know you don't like posing on your weak side because you don't look good in it, but you got to do it. And again, I use myself as an example. I use myself as an example all the time. Right? When it comes to posing, do you feel like you have to record and redo every time that you practice? So I record myself every time I practice, every single time. I record myself every single time that I practice. This is a big mistake I think a lot of people make. They practice in the mirror all the time. The judges are not a mirror. The judges don't look at you like this. The judges look at you from below. Okay? The judges look at below, up. It's a completely different angle. You need to be recording yourself from the angle of the judges. It makes a big difference in how you position your body. Big, big difference. Okay? So you need to be looking at yourself that way, not this way. Okay? Then when I record myself, I record my routine once, or I'll go through my comparisons once or something. I'll do whatever I'm doing. I'm going through it once, and I go back and I watch it. I don't just move on. I go back and I watch it, and I say, okay, did I hit everything right? If I did, great. Awesome. Let's do it again and make sure that we cement it in correctly. If I did something wrong, I go back and I fix it, and I re-record myself. Okay, we fixed it. Now we can go back and hit it again right. The biggest mistake I see people make is they'll record themselves and not actually watch it. Why are you recording yourself if you're not going to watch it? And not only not watch it, but then apply what you just watched. If you did it wrong, you should not be done with your posing at that point. You should go back and redo it. Right? That's the whole purpose. So yes, I record myself every single time, and I fix whatever I screwed up every single time. Seems like some people thought posing same side all the time caused Jen not to look symmetrical. Yes, I believe that. I believe that that's part of the reason why Jen was off to one side on her hip. Now, I could be wrong. You know, don't get me wrong. I don't know for a fact, but from what I saw from her posing, it looked like that was created from posing on one side all the time. She's never, and I don't know how she practices. So again, I don't know if this is how this happened or not, but she's never put the other side on stage, which is fine. You know, you don't put your weak stuff on stage ever. You know, you don't ever want to put a weak pose on stage. So it's very possible that she was practicing on the other side and she just never showed it or whatever, never took pictures in it. Don't know. We don't know. I think that's probably part of the reason why she was off balance in her hips. She mentioned in one of her YouTube videos also that she's a side sleeper and she sleeps on one side. So that would also make your hips be off. Those things matter, you guys, by the way. Repetitive motion absolutely makes a difference. If you sit the same way in your chair all the time, you need to change it. If you sit like this, like lean like this all the time, you need to lean the other way. If you're driving all the time with one arm, you need to drive with the other arm. If you always cross one leg and not the other, you need to cross the other. Those things all matter. That's repetitive motion. I do that. I have certain ways that I cross my legs when I sit, and I make myself change it. Like when I notice that I'm in that particular position, I change it. Like right now, I am sitting straight. I have no legs crossed, nothing. I'm sitting straight. I'm doing that on purpose. Right? I want to keep myself balanced. I have trained myself to sleep on my back. I used to be a stomach sleeper. Every once in a while, I'll go on my side, but I sleep on my back 99% of the time. Most of the time, I'm on my back. It's good for your face. You don't want to sleep on one side or the other because you're being squished. And you don't want to sleep on your stomach either because, again, you smush your face and smush your skin. So just a side note. So I do try to sleep on my back as much as I can for alignment purposes and things like that too. So all those things matter, right? So excited this weekend. Noticed my weak side. Oh, I missed a comment. Sorry. I noticed my weak side actually improved significantly and looked more similar to my strong side. Good. How long should we be practicing each day? How long you should be practicing each day is highly dependent upon you. I prefer that you practice at least 15, 20, 30 minutes a day. However, there's a big caveat to that. I want you doing intentional practice. So if you're just doing it to say that you did it, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I want you doing perfect intentional practice. So if you can only do perfect intentional practice for 5 minutes a day, that's enough. Build it up. Do it for 5 minutes. Then the next week, do it for 7 minutes. The next week, do it for 10 minutes and build yourself up, right? Do it 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the afternoon, 5 minutes at night. There you go. You got 15 minutes out. You're good, right? Make sure it's intentional practice. If you're just doing it to say you did it, it's not worth it. It's not. You're going to program bad muscle memory because you're not actually paying attention. And it's going to hurt you more than it's going to help you. Let's see. Yes, I'm a side sleeper and trying like hell to unroll my right shoulder. Yeah. I used to always sleep here like this. So this is a problem. This is a problem, right? You need to open it up. It's working the way I sit and stand since you mentioned it. Yeah, it's a big deal. Again, this is the other thing too. Your repetitive motion throughout the day, you do that all day long. Versus if you're posing for 15 minutes a day, which one do you think carries more weight? It's what you do all day long that's going to carry more weight. That's what's going to carry more weight at the end of the day. So making sure if you're one of these people that does a lot of cardio on like the treadmill or something like that, making sure that you have good shoes. If you're walking like off, I see this a lot with posing, you guys. Oh my gosh, I see this a lot with posing where like I'll try to teach you to walk. And as you're walking, one foot will go straight and the other foot will go off to the side. If you are walking weird, that is going to translate over to everything else. It's from your feet up. Everything starts at your feet and moves its way up. Check that. Make sure that you are not screwing yourself up by your shoes that you wear, by the way that you walk, all of those things. They make a difference. You just uncrossed my legs when you said that. And I sleep on my back a lot now, feeling the Frankenstein. Yeah, right? So true. Those imbalances a lot. See those imbalances in training a lot. A lot. And a lot of that comes from, again, repetitive motion. And then what happens too is you are always going to have a stronger side. If you're right-handed, your right hand is going to be stronger than your left. That's always going to be the case. So you go into the gym and you're going to pull every weight with your right hand, right? Like just pulling the dumbbells off of the rack, you're probably going to pull a dumbbell with your right hand before you would pull it with your left. So you're automatically using that right side more than you are your left. These are imbalances and they translate over to your physique, right? I'm foam rolling as you speak. There you go. Perfect. Yes, make sure that you're doing your mobility, foam rolling, stretching, yoga wheel. We talked about releasing your diaphragm. All of those things, they make a huge difference. And also as you get older, they make a huge, huge difference. Most of us on here, other than Jared, are females. As we get older, it gets harder and harder for us to be flexible. We have to work on it daily. We have to work on those mobility things daily. And it's not exciting and it's not glamorous and it's not this or that, but it will help you overall, not just with your posing, just your overall physical health all the time. I'll put my other earbud in because this one keeps pulling it down, so it's annoying me. There, that's better. I got a golf ball and rolled the bottom of your feet. Definitely can tell a difference. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, get in there and roll those feet. I have compression boots too. So I have compression boots. I use those all the time. Oh my gosh. I don't know about you guys, but I feel the most I like tension and everything through my feet and through my calves. I really saw how much I lean like on my right hip, on my right foot and stuff like that during Cuties Conquering the Stage because I was in heels all weekend. And like when I'm standing up on stage, things like that, I'm leaning on my one leg. I always sit on that one hip, that one leg. By the end of the weekend, I couldn't even feel my right leg anymore. It was gone. It was numb. I was like, I had no feeling in my toes. It was terrible. So those things make a difference. Dedicate time, set up a yoga mat or whatever in your bedroom or whatever it may be. Just set something up where you can go and you can stretch. Make sure that you stretch after you work out, those kinds of things. I make it a point to sit down and stretch when I get done with my workout. I have to. And I feel so much better when I do. And here's the other thing too, when you have muscle impingements and things like that and you're not stretching, guess what? Your muscle isn't going to grow when you're in the gym. If you can't actually lengthen and move that muscle, it's not going to grow. So you are literally doing things that are hindering what you're trying to do. Right? It all goes back to that. It all goes back to that. And then the coolest thing is that when you are making progress, it's very, very slow. It's very, very slow progress. It's very hard to do because you don't see immediate results. Again, going back to this Insta society and all of that. But when you are making progress, it is so cool to see. Because it will be noticeable. Like I noticed it. Like I said, my freaking left side front pose is becoming so much better and I'm noticing it. It's really awesome to see that because it's something I never could get before. Right? I'm getting preached to right now. Athletic mindset. It is. You have to have an athlete mindset. We forget that bodybuilding is a sport, quote unquote. Some people don't like calling it a sport, whatever. It's a sport. And we're athletes. We are supposed to be athletic. So always remember, like I said at the beginning of this, you would never, ever see a true athlete just stop training completely. That doesn't happen. They are always working on improving their game. They're always working on improving their physique as far as performance is concerned. We're not so much about performance. We're about aesthetics, but they tie in together at the same time. You can't have one without the other. Right? The aesthetics are going to be a little different if you're trying to build your body up for a different sport. You know, you're training it for performance versus aesthetics, but you know what I'm saying. It's still the same thing at the end of the day. It's still the same thing. So again, going back to, you know, these are the things you got to pay attention to. Now, the other part of this that I wanted to kind of wrap this up with. So now that my left side is very strong, it's easy to get into the habit of, okay, now I'm just going to pose on my left side. And I'm going to forget about my right side. Who cares? I'm going to pose all the time on my left and not worry about my right because my left looks better. No. Don't do that. Pose equally, right? So when I checked in today, I always send in to my coach, I send in photos and I also send in video. So typically what I'll do is my routine video that I send is I use both of my front poses. I walk to the back. I do all these things that I will not do when I actually perform on stage, right? I'm not going to do all those things when I actually go and compete on stage. Okay. But I still check in with that. So what I did today is I created a smaller routine, a shorter routine that just uses my left side. And then I also have my regular routine as well that I use both my sides and I do the walk. I'm not going to walk when I actually go on stage and compete. I'm not going to do it. It's one of my weaknesses. Not going to show it. Anyway, so I've sent both. I went through both. Okay. So that I'm not just focusing now on this one side that just got stronger, right? Just defeating the purpose again. You know what I mean? So we always should be striving to improve, always. Okay. And that means being equal. That means always working towards a goal. The goal may be different and it may shift and it may change, but it's still a goal that gets us to our end goal, which is to be better the next time that we get on stage. You know, regardless of what our placing is, you guys know this, we can't control our placings, but what we can control is our overall look and our overall package. So we do want to pay attention to that. And we do want to make sure that it's getting better each time we get up there. That's what we have control over. And that's actually one of the coolest parts about being in the sport, because you do have control over your performance. You do. It doesn't rely on anybody else but you, right? That's one of the cool things about not being a team sport. The buck stops with you. So if you do things right, awesome. You're going to get better. I've always gravitated towards sports and things like this because I always hated team sports, because if somebody else on the team sucked, that means our whole team sucked. Like I had to rely on other people. I don't like that. That's why I don't do well. Like I don't do well with like 9-to-5 jobs and things like that, because I have to work in a team with other people. I don't do well with that. I'm like, no. I work at my pace, which is a whole lot faster than you. I put in a whole hell of a lot more work than you ever do. That's why I hated group projects. I hated group sports. I hated all that stuff because I hated having to rely on other people. I just rely on myself. It's the Virgo in me right there. It's my way. I'm right. And I am. I'm always right. Always. Anyway, side note. Okay. Any other questions on this particular part of this topic? Or other off-season kind of questions? You know, we had one of those come in. That was good. Or on-season, whatever. I'm going to leave it open for a minute. One reason I've kept doing through this recovery, I wanted to at least keep that confidence. It was the one thing I could still control. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one thing you can still control. 100%. Absolutely. If you want it done right, do it yourself. That's right. That's absolutely right. Guys, I will never be a big business ever. I will always be a small business because I want it done my way. If it's not done my way, I have a problem. I have a problem if it's not done my way. It has to be done my way. Sorry. Because I know, I just know what I'm doing. Oh, gosh. Some people are so polar opposite of that where they just want to be told what to do. I don't do well with that. I don't do well with that at all. Don't tell me. It's my way. I'm right. But yeah, absolutely. Posing is the one thing as far as your confidence, things like that you absolutely have control over. 100%. Do you think master's age ladies with good muscle but a little loose tummy skin should still give competing a try just for the experience or fun? Yeah, of course. 100%. Don't let a little loose skin bother you. No, go for it. That's why they have master's divisions. You know, absolutely go for it. And there's lots of treatments out there and stuff like that now too. Like there's Morpheus that you can get done on your skin that helps to tighten up the skin. That's something that's the people can look into. I have not done it, but I've looked into it. Virginia Institute, they were one of our sponsors for CCTS. They do that treatment, and it's not the same thing as like, it's for people that don't have enough skin, like that can't go get like a tummy tuck or something like that. You know what I mean? But the Morpheus will actually tighten the skin up more. So that's an option. There's lots of options out there now that weren't even around just a few years ago. So don't let something like that get in the way. You know, don't ever let something like that get in the way. And also the loose skin isn't as big of a problem as most people think it is. Most of the time you can't see it by the time you get to show day. And as a suit designer, there's certain things that I can do to help to like minimize that as well. I don't ever like to cover things. Like that's not something that I don't like that coverage thing. But we can minimize it. We can minimize it through the tanning process and all that kind of stuff too. So it's really not a reason to not compete, right? Right, as Jared just said, and sometimes when girls are posed, you don't see the loose skin. That's right. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of times it's more in your head than you realize. It's not as bad as you think it is, right? I hear it all the time. Girls want to like cover up their C-section scars and things like that. I'm like, you realize we don't even see that, right? Like we don't see it. You focus on your negatives all the time. That's just normal. We focus on the weaknesses in our own bodies, but it's not typically something that most people see. It's just not. It's very rare that I'll tell a girl, I'm like, yeah, we need to cover up your scar or something like that. It's very, very rare. Because again, when you're posed, when you got the tan on, all that kind of stuff, you don't even see it. It's not even a thing. Right? So, and it's individual, obviously. It's individual. It's going to be a different solution for each person, but there are things we can do. There are things that we can do to try to minimize anything. Anything else? I'll leave it open for one more minute. It's almost 9 o'clock. Leave it open. This is a good discussion. I like doing these discussions. They're fun. Like I said, we just started doing this like a month or so ago. It was fun. So, I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. You see that people aren't perfect backstage more than once they hit. Yeah, that's true too. Yep, that's true. You see imperfections backstage versus on stage. Absolutely. Yeah, of course. That's what this is all about as far as allowing these questions and things like that. Absolutely. All right, so let's wrap it up. That's 9 p.m. This will be our last live feed for this evening, for this week. But we will be back again next week. And again, like I said, we'll be at the NPC Warrior Classic this weekend. So we will be, I've got clients of the show, and then I'll also be on the commentary and everything for you guys too. One of the pros so trying to cover for years, had no clue. Yeah, right. Yeah, that part, Yolanda. Yes, absolutely. And like I said, we're gonna do this segment, about once a week. So I don't hide so much loose skin in these bikinis that maybe small, but they can hide a lot. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So with that, like I said, my website's right here. So click on that. We got something big coming tomorrow. So be checking back. I'll be posting it on Instagram once it goes up. So check that. Suitsandposing.com is where you have to go if you need any of our services, hair, makeup, suits and posing, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you guys this weekend. Log into the live stream if you're not local, and you'll get an education along with the show. And that's it. We'll see you guys this weekend. I'm going to log off of Instagram first, and then YouTube and Facebook.